The War of the Roses is often remembered through romanticized battles, treacherous nobles, and the iconic red and white rose emblems. But beneath the surface lies a deep, complex story of dynastic legitimacy, legal ambiguity, economic instability, and a fracturing medieval state. This wasn't just a war between families. It was a civil war that rewrote England's political DNA, laying groundwork for the rise of the Tudors and the birth of the modern English monarchy. To truly understand the War of the Roses, we have to go back to the early 15th century. The roots of this conflict lie in the descendants of Edward III. He had many sons, and their lineage set the stage for future chaos. The senior line descended from his third son, John of Gaunt, forming the Lancastrians, while a rival claim came from his second and fourth sons, through Edmund of Langley, forming the Yorkists. These were not mere family quarrels. Both houses had arguable claims to the throne based on their ancestry and the laws of male primogeniture. But this conflict wasn't inevitable. It took political mismanagement and personal vendettas to ignite civil war. At the center of the collapse was King Henry VI, a gentle, pious man tragically unfit for rule. Crowned as a baby, he came of age in a kingdom fractured by the lingering costs of the 100 Years' War and internal corruption. His periods of catatonic mental illness only worsened matters. The vacuum of leadership created an arena for ambitious nobles to seize power. The critical moment came in 1453, when Henry suffered a complete mental breakdown, and Richard, Duke of York, was appointed protector of the realm. This seemingly administrative move planted seeds of treason and ambition. The first armed clash came in 1455 at the First Battle of St. Albans, a short, brutal skirmish that resulted in the death of several key Lancastrian nobles. Unlike later battles, this one was not about kingship, it was about control over the king. But as York's influence grew, so did mistrust. The conflict escalated, dragging the nobility into an escalating war of attrition. England had become a realm governed not by royal command, but by shifting alliances and the power of regional magnates. One cannot discuss the War of the Roses without examining Margaret of Anjou, Henry VI's formidable queen. More than just a consort, Margaret became the de facto leader of the Lancastrian resistance. With her husband incapacitated, she rallied armies, forged alliances in France and Scotland, and led campaigns to protect her son's inheritance. Her political maneuvering earned both admiration and hatred. Gender norms were deeply violated by her active role, and that made her a target as much as a threat. Perhaps no figure embodies the war's tragic arc like Richard III. As Duke of Gloucester, Richard was a loyal Yorkist general, but the deaths of his brother Edward IV and his nephews created a constitutional crisis. Richard claimed the throne in 1483, alleging that his nephews were illegitimate. His short reign was marked by legal reform, but marred by deep suspicion. The death of the princes in the Tower, likely murdered, cemented his infamy. Yet modern historians debate his guilt, showing how much of our understanding is shaped by Tudor propaganda. The military aspect of the War of the Roses reflects a transitional period in English warfare. These weren't just medieval jousts tactics. Gunpowder weapons and organized levies defined battles like Towton, the largest and bloodiest fought on English soil. Leaders relied on feudal retainers, but also increasingly on paid troops. Loyalty shifted with astonishing speed. Nobles often changed sides mid-battle. The war was less about ideology and more about survival and shifting power. These civil wars did not unfold in isolation. The instability in England invited foreign interference. France and Burgundy played crucial roles, funding rivals and backing claimants when it suited them. Edward IV's exile in Burgundy and Henry Tudor's alliance with the French crown in 1485 underscore how European diplomacy and English internal strife were intertwined. England's domestic war became a pawn on the wider chessboard of continental politics. The war culminated in 1485 at the Battle of Bosworth Field. Henry Tudor, a Lancastrian with a tenuous claim, defeated Richard III with the help of disaffected Yorkist nobles and foreign support. Richard's death on the battlefield marked the end of Plantagenet rule. Henry VII's subsequent marriage to Elizabeth of York symbolically united the houses. But make no mistake, the Tudor regime was born not from reconciliation, but from calculated legitimacy building and ruthless consolidation of power. The War of the Roses fundamentally altered England. It reduced the number of powerful nobles, strengthened the crown, and shaped a new model of monarchy that would evolve under the Tudors. More subtly, it changed how kingship was perceived. No longer divinely unquestioned, it now required political strategy, image management, and legal justification. The memory of the war became legend reinforced by Shakespeare, manipulated by monarchs, and romanticized by later generations. The War of the Roses was never a simple battle of red versus white. It was a brutal dynastic civil war born from political dysfunction, mental illness, and power vacuums. It changed England's trajectory, leaving scars on its monarchy and people. In understanding its true history, beyond the myths we see how fragile power can be, and how history is often written by those who win, but shaped by those who endure.